Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at mint on card items, some packaged kind of off the wall oddball items that I had never seen before or forgot about. And I'm filming this video ahead of time because I'm going to be going hunting in the swamps of Alabama for wild boar. And I'm not making that up. I'm actually going to do that. So if I die and I get gored by a wild boar, then at least you guys have a few more videos to mourn my death over. And I've done it a few times in the past. It's been about 10 years since I've done it. And we'll see how it goes. And if I get lucky and I actually am successful, then I'll maybe share some photos if you guys are not going to be bothered by that. But I did want to put together some videos because I do have also in my collection room a bathroom renovation starting next week. So the video count may be down because my collection room is going to be really noisy for like a week and a half or so because I've got a leaking subfloor in my bathroom and we're going to have to redo it. So anyway, all of that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at some recent sales. These are grouped by seller, and we're going to start off with some 20 backs with the Boba Fett offer. This is Hammerhead Clear Blister. It did have what looked to be some either ink touch-up up in the upper left-hand corner, which I think is what it is, as well as maybe some water damage. So this seller I've never bought from in the past, but his name is Jada34. I'm not trying to call him out or anything like that. I think he just gets collections in and resells them. But I've noticed with this particular seller, you need to be careful because he does have a lot of ink touch-up type items. And this one looks to be ink touch-up in the upper left-hand corner. You can see the silhouette from a price sticker potentially, as well as maybe some water damage. I'm not sure. But I know that this seller has had some ink touch-up items in the past. So just be cautious when you are buying from it. And he did disclose it. So in all fairness, I'm not trying to call him out, but he looks like he gave a nice zoom in there that shows the ink touch-up. And he did notice it. He didn't add it after the fact, after the listing started. Maybe some touch-up marker ink on this card back. So sometimes he discloses it, sometimes he doesn't. And again, I'm not trying to call out the seller, but it's just something to note. So that one did sell in an auction for, let's see here, if I can get my scroller to work, $592 is what that one sold for. And he also had a Walrus Man. And again, probably some ink touch-up in the upper right-hand corner, sticker residue. That one sold for $405. Again, he noted that one as well. He added that notation, so good of him to note that. Here is the Power Droid on the 20 back. The Power Droid, I was really surprised by some of the prices, especially the 21A that sold at Hakes. It sold for like $2,400. It was an AFA 80 Plus, I believe. So this one's a 20 back. We've got a 21 back B that is graded that we'll show you here in a little while. But this one looked to be pretty clean. I didn't see any ink touch up on this one. $561.69 on that one. They also did have a Rebel Soldier 41 back. Yeah, 41 back with some light edge wear to it. $260 on that one. Not a bad price given that it's clear blister. I thought that's probably about a 75 grade with the crease to the card there. Some light edge wear at the top there. Probably 75 overall. 75, 85, 80 would be my guess on that one. Next up was a 48 back C Zuckuss. Always desirable with that Revenge of the Jedi offer. And this one, again, had some scuffing and things like that. It looks like some scuffing there by the Empire Strikes Back logo, but clear blister in very good shape. That one sold for $357. Probably, again, about a 75 grade would be my guess, just given the card issues there. Very good price, though, I think, for that one. On to another seller that had some beautiful, both graded and ungraded early card backs for sale at auction. And this was a big one. This was a 12-back B R2-D2 AFA 80 unpunched, no price sticker. Absolute stunner. And it does seem like the 12-back B and C R2s are all over the place. This was a single score, so this was an older grade from AFA before they moved over to 3-tier grading with card, blister, and figure subscores. But Overall, AFA 80, beautiful, beautiful example. 1680.50 was the final sales price on that one. Big number for a 12-back B. R5D4 on the 20-back G. And this is one I still would like to get, an R5D4 with the Boba Fett offer on there. I don't have one of those. I've got two 21 backs. One of them with the regular, one of them with the Red Bar R5D4, but I would like to get a 20 back. That's on my goal list probably for next year, probably not for this year. AFA 75 on this one, $504.99. Really good price. If you can live with the 75 grade, which, you know, there's some collectors that just aren't willing to go below an 80. It does seem like the 75 for the blister score was a little generous. You can see some pretty heavy dings to it. I would have guessed, if I had submitted this one myself, that I would have guessed more like a 70 for the blister score. So pretty major dings on the top of that one. Still somehow eked out the 75 for the blister score, and that brought the overall score down to a 75. So $504.99 is a good price, though. That's a really good deal. Walrus Man AFA 80. This one was unpunched. It did have a price sticker. That one sold for $577, which I thought was a pretty good deal. Now, in all fairness, it did have some pretty major litho damage in an unfortunate spot right on Walrus Man. So that really kind of detracts from the appeal of the item, given that residue, sticker residue, things like that on there. Looks maybe like some light. I mean, to me, it got the 80, so I think it's probably just sticker residue. But it's just because of the placement of that sticker residue that I think that probably held the price down. $577.62. Here's a Power Droid. This was a 20-back D, AFA 75. And again, pretty major crunches on that blister. That blister is so big because of the size of that figure that oftentimes you do see Power Droids with a lot of damage to the blister, despite having really nice cards like this one that's unpunched. $690 was the final sales price on that one. Snaggletooth, 20-back G, graded AFA 75. Nice crystal clear blister, unpunched. $610, another good price there if you can live with a 75 score. And then here was an ungraded Stormtrooper 20-back J. And this was a beauty, really clean example. Maybe one little ding in the upper right-hand corner on the blister, but the figure itself was very clean. Maybe just some slight color difference between the limbs and the torso there, but that's a very, very clean one. Now, the card back itself had some issues, right? It had a major crease going through Luke and Leia on the upper right-hand corner. Probably overall a 75 at best. I mean, I think definitely a 75 at best. It potentially could get a 70 or 70 plus. But $590 on that one, pretty decent price there. C-3PO on a 20-back A. And this one was pretty clean. I didn't see anything major with it. Maybe some light scuffing or veining there on the upper left-hand corner there. It looks like just scuffing to me. $521 was the sales price on that one. And then here was the Death Star droid. This one was a 20-back E, and you can see some veining there by the hang tab, as well as some pretty heavy edge wear to this one. So this is probably at best a 75. There's a nice close-up there that shows the edge wear to it. So it's unfortunate, but probably about a 75. And that one sold for $380, which I think is about right. 20-back Death Star droids are kind of a dime a dozen. You can find them pretty easily. And even in high grade, $800, $900, I think, is about the going rate for a punched example with a price sticker. Next up, here was a 80-plus grade Hammerhead. This one was kind of tempting. It was a punched example, 20-back G, AFA 80+, though. Very high grade, clear blister, no price sticker. $710 on that one. And that seems to be the case with Hammerhead. He's not particularly expensive on the 20 backs for whatever reason. People just don't pay big money for him. $700 to $900 depending on the grade, and that was an 80+ and it sold for $710. That's a pretty good price. I would think that would have gone $850 and above, so I thought that was a nice price there. Next up was a 12-back C Stormtrooper from Gold Star Tech, one of my new favorite sellers on eBay. I picked up a couple of baggies from this seller. It was a punched example, no price sticker, 80, 75, 85 were the sub scores. Not sure why I got the 75 for the blister. The blister looked really nice. That seemed a little harsh for the blister score. $1322.97 was the final sales price, but it was a 12-back, right? So you're going to be paying a little bit more for that. 12 back C AFA 80 for $13.22. And then here is that 21 back B. Oh, sorry, it's a 21 back C. You'll have to excuse me there. I'm not sure what the differences are in the 21 backs. I've never seen a C before, to be honest with you. I can't keep them straight. But it was a 21 back C, 85, 80, 85. Now again, going back to the Hakes auction, it was an AFA 80 plus, if memory serves, 21 back A that sold for like $2,400, something big like that. And this one was an AFA 85, and it sold for $1,275, which I think is more in line with market. But it didn't make much sense at the time as to why that 21A Power Droid sold for so much. But you know, maybe it's just harder to find on the 21A. I don't know. But this was high grade, and it sold for $1,275, so very good price relative to the Hakes auction. Admittedly, you know, it's a punched example, right? So it's not perfect, and it did have the upper label there, which a lot of people don't like. But $1,275 is a good price. That's a pretty good deal there. Next up was an interesting item, alluding to what I said to start this video. This was an item you don't see AFA graded very often. AFA 75 plus movie viewer. So it's got the creepy kid right there. Yeah. Yes, look, yes. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like in the box art to me. Very creepy. $511.98 on that one. I don't know what I was doing there. You guys tolerate me. Thank you. Thank you for tolerating my weirdness. So that movie viewer sold for $511.98. And then here's the accompanying piece with the same creepy child version of Joker. This one is just the cassette, I assume. Hey Mom, save $1. AFA 80 on this one. So I think these are just like inserts to put in the last item that we just looked at. JCPenney sticker, very cool. And again, it was AFA 80, and that sold for $406.98. So these are two items you don't see very often pop up for sale. This is Assault on Death Star movie cassette from 1979. So they were just licensing everything willy-nilly back then to take advantage and monetize the very popular Star Wars movie. Here's the $1 rebate on the back there. So pretty cool. $406.98 again on that one. Here's one. I was so tempted to bid on this one. I almost did. I had a snipe set up, and then I came to my senses and said, don't do it, John. You've got Hakes coming up, and I spent a lot of money on Hakes. Oh, my God. If I haven't aired my Hakes unboxing, I will very shortly. It's going to be hard to do any kind of videos in here where I'm showing you items in my collection, because this room is going to be complete chaos with ripping out and tearing up, and there's going to be dust everywhere. I'm miserably unhappy about it, but it has to be done because it's leaking into the subfloor and into the garage. This house is falling apart. As soon as we get something put back together, something else breaks. Don't buy a 1970s house. I mean, it drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. This was the 45 back Star Wars display arena Sand People, and I really wanted to bid on this one. This was a beauty. AFA 85, it sold for $565. It's just a stunner. And I didn't see any staining on the cape. I think everything you see there on the cape is shadow. And I didn't want to risk it in the event that it potentially was staining, because then the AFA 85 wouldn't hold up anymore. I don't think it is. I think it's just shadow, though. But $565, I mean, my snipe was like, I think my snipe was like $520, so I wouldn't have won it anyway, but it was a nice one. $565 on that one. And two different transition cards sold. First was the TIE Fighter pilot on the 48 back free 9-num offer. It did have what looked to be a tear going through the top of the card. So this is at best a 70, and that kept the price down despite the clear blister. $255 on that one. But this is a big one. This was a yellowed blister Obi-Wan, and it sold for $11.25. The same seller had this same card back for Darth Vader that sold for like $2,500. But this one was a yellowed blister, but in very good shape. Probably overall an 80 grade would be my guess. $11.25. That just shows you how desirable this little stupid sticker is. This particular card back is very desirable among collectors. Harder to find and ungraded. That one sold for $11.25. Next up was Jabba the Hutt, kind of a beater box, but it was still factory sealed, probably a 70 or 75. That one sold for $386. And very nice example, but you know, again, it was not perfect. It had some wear to the box to it. And next up was a Ramba for 171.22. It had some issues there on the right hand side of the card, as well as above the blister by the hang tab. There was some weird kind of dots on it, so I don't know if that's litho or what, but 171.22 was the final sales price. I thought this was a good deal. This was a graded General Madine, graded AFA 80, and it was clear blister. Tough to find him in clear blister. 75, 85, 80, and it sold for $157.50. Punched example, but 65 back B, General Madine. General Madine does not get enough respect. Respect the authority. He is a really good figure. I love that haircut as well. General Madine, I guarantee you, was a single man. He did not have a wife back at home, a Mrs. Madine. And it's because of that haircut. And you can see the sexual frustration in his eyes. General Madine was single. I guarantee you he was single. Anyway, $157.50 on that one. And then finally, this was a beauty. This was an uncirculated 85 Han Solo in carbonite from the Power of the Force line. Some crazy person like me sent in a sealed Kenner box of these Power of the Force figures and got the uncirculated designation. Look at that. 85, 90, 90 with a yellowed blister. So even when you send in a sealed shipper box, those blisters were still yellow. But that was a beauty, and it sold for big money from Brian's Toys. $12.03 was the final sales price on that one. Anyway, I will shut up now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.